All right, so there's a difference between GitHub and GitHub Teams. And mainly, GitHub Teams is a little bit more elaborate, a little bit harder to set up, but it has a lot more features. So let's start out with what we search here, GitHub Teams free. This is so that you can experiment with various settings in GitHub's Teams without any risk. We go to the pricing here, and under the pricing we select the one that says free, basics for teams and developers, unlimited public-private repositories, unlimited collaborators, and it has 2,000 actions, minutes, a month, and 500 megabytes of GitHub packages storage. So now we create the organization. Here we are. Contact email. It belongs to my personal account. And let's create something. My organizational setup is going to be Adept Text Bridge. Not that it really matters at this point, but it's mainly for testing. So I can already have my own account here. Okay, and there we go. So now we've added some members to our organization. It's really that easy. And if we go in here, look at the permissions, you have basically 3 levels. Owners have complete administrative access, and this is pretty important because the difference between owners and administrators and other repository technologies is pretty big, and a lot of them have like one owner. You can have multiple owners with this, and that's a pretty powerful feature in and of itself. And if you look at this, the owners basically have all the X's. You can do anything on here that anyone can do. Delete and mention and go forth and disable things and enable things and fork the actual project and all the normal stuff that you want to be able to do, which is push, pull, write, clone, copy of repositories, convert organization members to outside collaborators, which seems pretty powerful too, and that's not listed, but here we are. They have access to them, so they don't necessarily have all the internal features. But yeah, this is somebody who would be like somebody that's auditing or reviewing code, but not necessarily doing everything. It's a very important feature. Okay, so let's complete this. Oh, I dropped down. So at least you guys don't have to worry about me fumbling with my password here. So, boom, right here. Woohoo! Let's say I do everything. Student. How many? 1 to 5. We're not expecting too many people here at this point. Select all that apply. There, 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 there. Other, please describe. Let's see, we already have student. Research. What do you expect to do in the next 7 days? Let's go with everything. Ah, there's a limit. Choose up to 3. So this was one of the first limits here, but we want to use pipelines. We want to plan and track work. We can collaborate outside using webhooks. So we're working around the limits here. Let's start it out with no existing repository. So 2 members, and boom, I've created it. Adept test bridge. Make sure that I'm still recording here. All right, good. So now let's create the new repository. Boom. Test bridge is available. Testing. Features on GitHub Teams. And you want to do most of these things. Good, ignore template. I've worked with some of the Android, the Java. This is a pretty important thing to choose. It basically is working within whatever framework you've got going on. Gradle's pretty powerful. But let's just add a basic Python get ignore? Choose a license. Now, these things are pretty good. MIT. Now, if I was unsure about whether I needed an open license, these are all open license. You'd basically not apply any of these. You create one of your own and put all the terms in it that your employer, whoever else agrees to. But yeah, that's pretty important because if you don't have a license, then anybody can do anything they want with their code in theory. So let's go ahead and create this. And there's your first part of this, is that you've got a basic repository. You can download codes, add files by uploading or creating. Go over here, raise issues, new issue, to do add some code to this repository. Assignees, no one, assign yourself. Let's do that because nobody else is here. You notice this? That's my default, that I'm busy. It's one of the lovely let's see, good first issue, good for newcomers. Yeah, there you go. Projects. We don't have a project yet, so let's submit this. Add some eyes. Weird. So anyway, we've got that. Got actions. Workflows made for your repository. Do they have one for Python? Let's deploy to Node.js, deploy to Amazon. A Docker container to Google Container Registry. It's pretty good. There's a lot of different things that you can do here. Ruby with Rake, C++ with make, so you can make your stuff. Publish Node.js, which is not something you'd want to do in Python, but here's what we would want to do is some manual workflow. And I'm not sure that this is a very good pipeline, but it's there. Featured actions. Download a build artifact, close all issues. Do something else later maybe add in some more automation. But there we are. There's your commit new file, create manual. First, workflow needs improvement, which we'll add that in. And we could actually so we have that in there. And then we can actually add another issue here. To do number 2, improve.yaml pipeline. It's sometimes called pipeline. Or okay, so we determined what we needed to do to it, but we have something here. We've got 2 issues raised, and the issues are important because I can add these assignees to it. And that gives me a better way to work with each one of these issues, these things that we're doing with this. So all these actions that you're doing are tied to your workflow. Projects. And here is where you have all the project planning features, which is pretty great. First project. Show and learn how to use the project feature. And let's use a basic, we could use a basic Kanban, an automated Kanban, a Kanban with reviews. And Kanban's pretty good. And we're probably going to get by with using basic because we're not sophisticated yet, I think, to use the automated. Not to say that we won't get there, but let's do a basic because we want to just manage. Okay, now to do so archive that. So here we are in progress. Add note or manage automation. So if I wanted to manage automation, issues will be automatically moved here when added to the project. Let's put them all right here. Boom. And then, you can move it to the next. Cards can be added. Automation. And pull request. Okay, so and manage automation. Close with unmerged commits. Merged. Yeah, so there we go. It's got some basic automation. Add a column. And we're going to add a rework column. No preset. Rework, review, test. Okay, so that'll give us an alternate direction to go with this. So how do I add cards from issues? Let me check here. Sparkles. Okay. So new issue. And we're going to see if this shows up in the project board. And boom. So first project, it did not show up. So it looks like we can move things to issues from here easily. Let's see what we can do here. Projects. That may have been what. There we are. So let's see if it shows up. There it is. Okay. So I'm going to have to go through to do, make sure all my projects are actually set here. There's a few of these things that I had not. There we go. I think we could do that for more than one at the same time, probably. Projects. Yeah, there we are. 3 open, 0 closed. Here we are. So, boom, automation, automatically move cards to the left, to the right, stuff like that. And sides. Contributors, dependencies, dependabot. Forks, I can fork this if I wanted to. There's a lot of settings that I have access to. This one's particularly important here. Adding a webhook. Payload URL was automatically given this. And I'm going to come back to this later. We're not ready to add that because I've got to get some more information.